Hey gang, I just had the opportunity to spend an hour with Phil M. Jones, the author of Exactly What to Say. Many of you saw him at Mega Camp. He's just a dynamic presenter. I'm super thrilled to share with you a few of his ahas. And one last thing, he just released these role play cards that would be for your agents and giving them confidence around being prepared and always having and knowing what to say. So just wanted to share with you for, I think it's $50. You can get this game, basically, this role play game. It's a blast. And it's geared specifically around real estate. I also want to back up and remind you that we also have the Recon role play opportunity for you to promote internally in your office for all of your agents to role play with all kinds of agents all across the country for free. You do not need to be a MAPS contract person for that. And so I'm going to remind you all with that information. And yet, a couple of things that Phil M. Jones said that really hit me, because he's talking about confidence in what we say, be it recruiting or sales. And he reminds us that you cannot write, perform, and edit at the same time. So if you are winging it when it comes to setting appointments or having that first conversation, really you're setting yourself up for failure. And your confidence in that, your swagger in that, is not going to develop if you're trying to do all of that at once. And so his advice is, if you look at your circumstance, so recruiting, we'll say recruiting for an example, or working with a seller, there are known moments, meaning there are things you can anticipate, objections you're going to hear, or that you've heard of before, or people have shared. So if you are confident with your known moments, you can actually be present in the moment, not trying to think of what you might say or how you could outscript someone. So that rehearsal is pretty critical. And that's why I just want to remind you of these flashcards would help your agents build some confidence and have a lot of fun. You could do a lot of fun things with this, or even sharing that recon role play. Now think of a movie that literally brought you to tears. It was so good. Think of that movie right now. We all have them. I know you do. Now he reminded us that the delivery of that was nothing more than a script. That is an actor performing a script that brought you to tears. Now, if that actor wasn't really knowing their lines to the point where they could deliver it with energy and emotion, you wouldn't have that impact if they were okay or not so great. So when you think about it, an actor is just mastered scripts. And really, because they know their lines, they're not worried about it. They can even go off script and freelance or change it up if they need to. So think of what your known moments are in your role so that you can be aware of this and you can have your one-liners or two-liner response that help you stay on cue. And then common mistakes when we're either performance or mindset coaching is that when we know the answer from the person we're across, we tell them the answer. And instead, if we were just to ask better questions and more questions, we could help them, guide them to the answer so that they authored their own solution. And by doing that, authorship really is ownership. So when you're coaching for the next week, just try this. Give no advice. Just ask better questions, ask more questions, help the person across from you put a plan in motion. And by doing that, you're going to get them to think more deeply and actually understand it. So now, when you're trying to get someone to do something they're just not, sometimes you can't just hope they get it. You have to give some advice. And so if you're in that circumstance, he gave us some good feedback on this. He said, if you're giving advice to someone and they're just not owning it, they're just saying it doesn't work here, not in our office, it's not going to work out, or not in my neighborhood. Ask 3 great questions and stack these questions. Number one, when was the last time you blank? So let's just pretend you're talking to an agent that you wish you could help change their behavior. And you say, you're encouraging them to work their database or do open houses or do online advertising, do anything that creates leads. And let's just say they say, it doesn't work here. 3 questions asked are, when was the last time you really applied that technique? Or when is the last time you fully committed to open houses? So when was the last time, ... Second is, how often, ... have you done this? And then the last question is, for how long? Because most of us don't dive into anything long enough to really get into momentum. And instead of just popping to the next shiny lead generation thing, we know we're going to get further faster with our agents if they really take their database serious and they do things like open houses consistently. So fun way to get people to maybe look at things different. And it's all through questions, not us selling an idea or sharing how we were, but really that. And then he ended with some advice for kids. So if you have kids, you'll like this. He reminded us that when we say, tell me what you were thinking, if your kid does something that you're like, serious, tell me what you're thinking, that immediately is a command and it's forceful and it immediately gets whoever you're across from into defensive behavior. So, you don't get the response you're looking for either. Let's be honest. They often come up with excuses. They backpedal. It's a negative. So our words are so powerful. If we would switch, tell me what you were thinking, to help me understand what you were thinking, it's a total different experience. So our words really matter. We really need to be aware of them so that we are the people we need to be for the people around us. And yet, challenge for coaching, give no advice. Try it for a full week and see what you can do to help your people author their next move. Hope you got something good out of this. Check out those flashcards, they're killer. If there's anything Rich or I could be doing, let us know.